Hey, I'm Sil, they, them. You know the deal by now. Let's get into it. Episode 4, I believe it is. Yeah. So I have a couple things to discuss during this episode, but we'll get into them when when time allows, when there's nothing to deal with on the screen. Hello, Nooch the teleporting dog. Weather report. Okay, no rain tomorrow. Fortune is horrible today. Good to know. So everything is watered. We get a couple of jazz flowers. I'm going to store them right away. I think because we're coming up to a full chest here, it might be a good idea to use some wood in order to create another chest and start sorting things. I also kind of want to maybe put this chest back into the house because I think thematically it would just look better, but I'll think about it. But before we do that, let's have a look around the farm and see. Maybe I should go to the the one thing that I'm most curious about is to go to the quarry area, see if there's anything worth mining. I guess not, except for one rock. That's fine. Okay, so something that I wanted to talk about. It has been brought to my attention that a mod that I was considering putting on the original video, like the video essay, but didn't put. So like, there's a mod that I wanted to put in the video, and I didn't end up doing so because at the time of making that video, it wasn't updated to be compatible with 1.6. And I wanted to make sure that the only mods that I mention are ones that anyone can download, install, and play. But as I was about to say, it has been brought to my attention that ever since then it has been updated, and supposedly it works now. Hold on, let's see what this is. Emily would like to hire someone to fetch a topaz. You will be paid for your time. I mean, I'll accept it, but I doubt we're gonna find a topaz anytime soon. But who knows, So yeah. Oh, acorn is nice. So the mod is called Pacifist Valley. And the main thing that it does is it allows you, basically it takes combat out of the game and replaces it with affection. So whereas you would normally, go around fighting monsters in the mines and killing them, instead you hug and cuddle them. And when they would normally die, instead they become your friends. And in that way, you can not only go into the mines without harming anyone or any other area that has monsters, for that matter, but also it allows you to find and use what is essentially those monsters like body parts, because when you become friends with them, they kind of like they drop their usual drops, which still a little bit I would say disturbing in my opinion. And I feel like in real life I wouldn't want to go around like bats, for example, cuddling with them for the sake of taking their bat wings, right? Because in this game, for example, when you kill bats, they drop bat wings, which are essential for some of the crafting recipes in the game. However, there is another mod that is supposed to be compatible with Pacifist Valley, which changes around some of the monster drops to be a lot less, I guess, macabre, for lack of a better word. I don't remember any examples, but I think, for example, instead of bat wings, it would be you know what? I'm not sure, and I don't want to accidentally misrepresent it, so I'm gonna be careful with referring to it. But I figured, if both of these mods work, it would be possible to install them going forward for this series, and then basically quote unquote unlock the mines for ourselves, which would add more content to this playlist in the long term. sorry, to this playthrough, not playlist. Um, I was kind of like working around on something in my music library earlier, and I guess the word playlist stuck in my mind. But yeah, so technically, if both mods work, it would be possible, to play with that. The question is, and this is where I would like your let's talk to Jazz real quick. What? Giggle. Hi. Okay, she almost never has anything interesting to say. What I was gonna say. Okay, so I would really appreciate your input in the comments. Do you think we should try those mods out and see if we can get more content that way? Or do you think we should stick to like the idea of just not going into the mines at all? Because I feel like even when you do, like, even if I did walk into the mines and, supposedly, like, became friends with the monsters there, right? By like petting and cuddling them. The idea of like walking into their homes and, these are carrots, I believe, right? Yeah, that's good. Or carrot seeds. Even then, the idea of like walking into their homes and just grabbing, resources from it, without, clear consent from them, is something that I'm still kind of wary of. And I'm not sure how I feel about it in the context of those mods. So again, for now, I'm going to default with no, as in, it's just a consideration. I'm not going to do it for the next episode, unless by the time that I make the next episode, some of you, make it clear that you think it would be a good idea to have those mods installed and try to like delve into the mines. I say that as I pass by them, with the idea of like, exploring them in a friendly way. There might be some other stuff about the mods that I'm missing. Maybe there are some other benefits. So by next episode, I will also make sure to read through, the listed features of those mods. But yeah, that's that for now. The second thing that I wanted to discuss is actually something that a commenter requested, and I thought it would be a good idea to address it. So they asked if I would like to share during a video like this, where there's a lot of time to talk, about my vegan and antinatalist journeys. I don't remember if they specifically asked about the latter two, but if I'm already going to do, if I'm already going to talk about my vegan journey, I might as well talk about my antinatalist journey as well. So where do I start? So I've been vegan for 12 years. Let's plant the carrots real quick. Where do we make space for them? Let's do it here. And let's see if there's any more seeds I can make here, although I am wary of the amount of energy that I'm going to need to conserve for every day. That's okay, we still don't have enough dandelions for that. So, okay, wait, before I get into the story, let's figure out what I want to do for the rest of the day. I have full energy, and I remember that I want to get the tree farm going. Ideally with as many acorns as possible, or trees that sprout, that, grow from acorns. So let's start clearing some land here, with, by chopping the trees, and see where it takes us. And then, as I chop the trees, and there's not much to focus on, I'll be able to freely talk about that topic, like the vegan stuff. So, I've been vegan for 12 years. I don't remember the exact day that I went vegan, but just for the sake of, I know that it was January of 12 years ago. So like January, like 2012, I believe. And I don't remember the exact date, but for the sake of simplicity, and also because, I'm interested to celebrate my vegan anniversary more so than I'm interested in celebrating my birthday, I just kind of like, guessed a number and went with January 18th. So what happened on that day was, I was in high school. I was in class. By the way, I'm 28 at the moment. So back then I was 16 and a half or something like that. I was in high school in my class. And in one morning, a couple of friends from class, told me, hey, we watched this like life-changing lecture, like video lecture on the internet, on YouTube. It's about veganism, and we think you should watch it too. It really changed our minds, and we're vegan now. And at that time, I didn't know very much about veganism. I knew what vegetarianism was, and I'd always been on some sort of like weird balance between considering it because, I realized that it might be important, right? And at the same time, also kind of like mocking it in my mind. Oh, and I just realized that we didn't need to make two new spaces for the carrot seeds because there are two spaces open up. Two spaces opened up now when we harvested the jazz, but that's okay. Wait, I need more energy. Let's use spring onions. And remember to leave one behind for the community center. Oh, and yeah, after chopping that amount of wood, I'm definitely going to have enough for a few chests to sort stuff out. But yeah, so they told me about the lecture, and I remember kind of scoffing at it at the time. I asked them what veganism was, and they told me that it's kind of like vegetarianism, but no animal products in general, so no milk and eggs as well. And I remember, thinking that it sounds a bit ridiculous. But I'm always up for an intellectual challenge. I even was back then, and so I decided that when I get back home, yeah, I can eat that last spring onion too. I told myself that when I get back home, I'm going to challenge that video lecture by basically, sitting down to eat something non-vegan in front of it and see if it would make me stop eating it. And that day, my mother happened to, bring some takeout from like a non-vegan place. And I figured, what an opportunity to sit and eat it in front of the lecture. Now, some of you may know the lecture. It's by Gary Yourofsky. It's called, I think on YouTube, it's called something like hyperbolic, like, the best lecture you'll ever see or something like that. So yeah, I sat down to watch it, and within, 10-15 minutes, sorry, I said that word. Within 10-15 minutes, the dish from that restaurant was in the trash. And I was convinced. I was basically, okay, well, I have no argument against this. This is horrible. I'm going to go vegan. Wait, is there anything more I can eat? Yeah, I can eat bread. And the Jojo Cola, I guess. Also clear up some space. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go vegan overnight. Not even vegetarian, like as a step. And a lot. I did my research on the internet, and I saw a lot of people saying that it's difficult to be vegan, right? Because like it's so difficult to like get rid of, say goodbye to the food that you like so much. And by the way, I come from a family. So like my family is from my mother's side. My family is Iraqi, and in Iraqi cuisine, there's a lot of meat. And throughout my childhood, I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house. Is there anything? No, I guess this is it for the day. Now, I'm gonna put a pause on the story real quick because I do want to make sure that I plant as many acorns as possible. And I want it to be in an organized manner. So let's figure out, I think, I don't know whether a tree would be able to like grow if it's like on this line, because I don't know if this shadow is considered as like, unavailable terrain. I'm gonna, err on the side of caution and plant them here. And I guess I should plant it here. No, that's okay. I'll get rid of this sapling, and then just start planting them kind of like you know, spaced two away from each other. So one here, and one here. Oh, that was a stick. Okay. Thankfully, you can rearrange it. Let's get rid of these, and I think we're good. Now, as for all this sap that we got, I think I'm definitely going to use it in the future for fertilizer, for, you know, high quality, or rather for high value crops. And the wood, we have like 500 here. If I remember correctly, each piece of wood when you sell it is like 2 gold. So if we sell even like 200 out of this, we can get 400 gold, which is not bad. But I do want to make a couple more chests, so let's do that now. I'm also curious to explore this like mega chest feature that I was told about. So what happens, for example, if I put a chest here, or let's say, might want to start, you know, reevaluating the way this house is organized, but I'll do that later. So if I put a chest here, and then I right click with another chest on it, doesn't seem to do much. I don't know if the mega chest is a recipe that you unlock later, but for now, let's just make things simple and align the 2 chests here. And this might be a good opportunity to, you know, organize some stuff. So let's do this. Crops and harvest, or forage, I should say. I'm gonna put in 1 chest here and give it a green color. See if there are any others. There's the spring onion, the dandelion, and that's it, I think. Yeah. Then on this chest, I'll paint it kind of like black and put in it everything that has to do with like mining or rocks or, you know, ground or garbage. Okay, I don't have space. And by the way, I haven't forgotten about the story. I will continue it in a moment once my head is clear. And then I think anything that has to do, you know, like with wood or like miscellaneous like this, or just, you know, tools for, I guess, tools, I'll keep outside here for now. Okay. So let's go to sleep, start the next morning, and then I'll continue with the story. No rain, so we're gonna get some music. No rain tomorrow either. Fortune teller, relatively good luck. And so like each week in the game, you get a new recipe from the Queen of Sauce. And then later down that week, it's just going to be a rerun. So like you're not getting any new recipe here. Like we already know stir fry, and yeah, it tells us you already know how to cook stir fry. So whenever you see that there's like rerun, you don't really have to check it. No mail. Crows got to feed a little bit, that's nice. And we get a massive harvest. Okay, let's see what we're gonna do with it. So, higher quality stuff I'm going to sell because it's gonna net us more money. Definitely going to have enough, you know, wild stuff to create more seeds, so I'll do that in a moment. And carrot, I don't really... Okay, well, right off the bat, I see that it generates a lot of energy. So, unless there's, you know, a dish, I'm gonna save a few of those just in case. But this could be a nice energy source, at least until the moment we start getting salmonberry. Okay, yeah, let's immediately... Yeah, let's immediately sell the high quality ones. Then... I'm gonna see how much I have of each of the wild stuff. Alright, let's make... How much did I just harvest? I guess I should only craft as much as I can, you know, after watering all this. So for now, let's put the carrot back. Carrots. Get the watering can. water as much as we can. Pun not intended. Hello, Nooch. Here's some water. And let's water. Let's start watering. Okay, so yeah. Where was I with the story? Okay, so I went vegan, and I read on the internet that, going vegan is very difficult. And I don't know whether it's, people who genuinely thought that way, who tried it and just found it difficult because, oh, sorry, the point that I was in the middle of is that there's lots of like meat in the regular cuisine from in the house that I grew up in. And I used to spend a lot of time at my grandparents' place from my mother's side, the Iraqi side, because after school and like after kindergarten and after school, my parents would still be at work up until relatively late. And so, again, I stayed at my grandparents' place for the most part during my childhood. And my grandmother cooked a lot of meat, so I got really used to it. But even then, despite everything that people said on the internet, that going vegan is really hard because of the foods that you would miss, I actually found it very easy. And I think the biggest part of that was the ethical conviction that no matter how tasty the food is, once you realize what animals have to go through in order for that food to be produced, like, it just completely takes the appetite out of it. And thankfully, right around the time, 2012, a lot of, plant-based products started appearing on the market. And I remember not missing a lot of the stuff that I used to eat because there already were some, pretty good vegan alternatives for them. Okay, in terms of energy, I seem to be at half. So I think we can craft 3 more. Let's start with 2 and see if we can afford more. 2 packets of wild seeds, or rather 20. Like 2 like tens of seeds. Now, do I want to use fertilizer on this? With the amount of wood, actually, I don't know how much wood I'm going to have overall in the long term. So I think just to be safe, I'd rather save the sap for actually important stuff. So I think no, I'm not going to use sap here. And I'm going to make sure to save 1 packet for the fertilized area here. And now let's water the rest. So yeah, once you understand what the animals are going through, once you've seen it with your eyes, it really takes the appetite out of it. And again, thankfully there were a lot of plant-based products at the time that replaced a lot of the stuff that I was used to. So the process was really easy, at least from my perspective. I recognize that for other people it might be a lot more difficult, and that's completely valid. People experience things differently. But really, I think there's no excuse for it. I don't judge people who, don't manage to make the transition right away. But of course, I do hold them accountable. And I think that there's a very significant difference between those two things. I might get into this topic more in the future about like the difference between judging and holding accountable. But I will say real quick, as kind of like a... on the tip of the fork, let's say hi to both of these. Jody, what did you say? It's 11:40 a.m. already? My goodness. I still have tons of work to do. And Sam? So the voice I made for him was, okay, yeah. Did you watch the game last night? Or wait, do you even have a TV set? Well, I do, Sam. And no, I didn't watch the game. Help wanted. I like to put red mushroom on my shelf. Please deliver it. Man, these people are obsessed with red mushrooms. And this is Pierre. Again, I don't think I'm going to find red mushroom, but no use turning it down just in case. So Pierre is closed on Wednesdays. Let's say hello to Alex before he says to us. What was the voice I gave him? I guess there isn't too much of a difference between Sam and Alex in terms of voices in my head. I guess Alex is kind of more of a jock, right? So like, it would be a voice like, looks like a good day to play catch, huh? If you weren't a girl, I'd ask you to play catch. I'm fine just watching you from a distance. I want to play catch with you. Angry. What's that supposed to mean? Yeah, we're definitely going to the feminist route. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, wait, I accidentally skipped his line. My bad. But he said something along the lines of like, never mind. All right, Pam. Do I give her a voice? It's gonna be a very stereotypical, not very nice voice, but let's see. Times have been... no. Well, I mean, is she a smoker? I don't know if she's a smoker in the game. I know she drinks a lot, but like, I'm gonna give her a smoker voice. Times have been tough lately. I got laid off by my job as a bus driver. I got laid off of my job as a bus driver. If I got that job back, I could drive you to Calico Desert. Well, thanks. That sounds nice. Where was I? Before I started talking to people. Oh yeah. So the reason, in my opinion, that there's a significant difference between, judging someone and holding someone accountable is, the philosophical position, which I hold, that free will doesn't exist. We're all just, combinations of conditioning that we received, right? And so, from my perspective, it's not someone's fault that they were conditioned to find, the transition to veganism to be difficult. But even though it's not their fault, I still hold them accountable to make the effort and make the change, right? Okay, Evelyn.
Homegrown tulips make for a lovely springtime gift.
Oh, okay. And she's not a dumpster diver either. That's okay. So yeah, it's kind of like the difference, between, like the leftist difference between, oh wait, I want to say hello to you before. Oh. It's kind of like the leftist difference between, punitive justice and rehabilitative justice. And of course, I very much agree with the latter and disagree with the former. So if someone, from the vegan perspective, eating animal products is an antisocial behavior, right? And so when someone displays an antisocial behavior, also from an anarchist perspective, the idea is not to I guess, harm them in an act of justice for that, right? But rather what we want to do is intervene in that harmful behavior, make them stop doing it, and learn why they should be better at it, right? So yeah, from that perspective, with veganism, I think, I don't know. Well, it's a more complicated topic, and I wanted to talk to Leah. So this morning I accidentally stepped on a bug. Leah vegan? I'll consider it. At the very least, the fact that she is considerate towards bugs indicates that she recognizes sentience is important, right? Ooh, you've got new ideas to sleep on. Foraging 3, that's gonna be nice. Yeah, all right. So let's move on. Oh, nice. Gold star spring onion. Where was I going to go with this? Oh, the story about veganism. So I went vegan right away, right? And the first year that I was vegan, I was really, really loud and upset about it, right? I felt like I couldn't, attend family gatherings where there were animal products. I talked about it nonstop to everyone I met. And then what happened was, over time, when people started, when people got annoyed with me, and started gaslighting me about the fact that I shouldn't push topics like that on other people, I realized that I was losing a lot of connections, right? Connections with people who were obviously not vegan. And I think over time, during the first few years after the first one, that caused me to, that kind of shocked me, right? That was a bit traumatic to lose so many connections with people I cared about. And I think as a result, during the first few years, I kind of became a pick-me vegan, or rather, in more technical terms, like a carnist apologist. Of course, I still refrain from animal products on my plate, and I hadn't dived at that point deeper into other ethical concerns like leather and like other basically forms of animal exploitation. But I was still convinced that I should try my best to eliminate animal products from my diet, and I did so. However, I feel like at that point I started very heavily repressing, my frustration, and I guess it to an extent like my depression with, you know, carnism as a whole, and with animal exploitation, because I just started kind of like acting. I even like convinced myself that I should just, let people choose, what they want to eat, not get into their plate, and not talk about it, unless specifically asked, right? And it worked on me, right? People, the societal pressure worked, and unfortunately, I became very silent about it. It was only like a few years later when I started to get exposed more and more to other very prominent vegan activists that are a lot more vocal, I would say, or a lot less apologetic, like Joey Carpstrong, for example, that I started realizing, hold on, like I should be more like them. Like, this is an important topic. I very heavily relate to, the suffering of animals. So, like, why should I remain quiet about it? And, if people decide that they don't want to be friends anymore, or, they decide that our connection is not worth it anymore to them just because I'm fighting, I'm being vocal for like a really important topic, then I probably don't want to be friends with them in the first place, because I'd rather surround myself by people who, share important ethical values with me. And thankfully, I stuck with that. I started trying to surround myself with more vegan people, and things started going better. I felt more comfortable opening up about my frustration with animal exploitation and my depression with how much suffering there is in the world. I started seeking out a vegan therapist, which helped a lot. And I still am seeing a vegan therapist today, which is still helping a lot. As a result, when I got back, I should say, to doing more research on, ethical like veganism, or rather just veganism, as it were, I started learning more about, other related topics that I hadn't been exposed to before. That's when I started, getting into actual like street outreach. I started joining a local, animal rights organization to, work with them and like do outreach with them. And that was really nice. However, as time went on, I started realizing that even their outreach is too mild for my newly unmasked self, right? It was also around the time, a couple of years ago, that I started learning about the fact that I might be autistic, and like started, the diagnosis process, and learning about it more even like in my free time. And so, that was badly placed. So yeah, and I started realizing that actually, even the the mild sugar-coated form of outreach that organization did, which is on the bed, that's cute, I felt like that wasn't enough. Like, they weren't showing a lot of industry footage to bypassers, and I felt like that was the most important thing, right? At least from my perspective, that's what caused me to go vegan, just literally facing the facts and like seeing what happens for that food to be produced. And I felt like I started feeling like I kind of over the span of like a year or two, I did a complete 180, where like going from like, carnist apologist to like actually, radical agitating activism, showing people like what goes on in the industries is really, really important, and like advocating for that. So, and you know, here I am today. This is my current vegan self. I believe in radical activism. I believe, you know, there needs to be as much of it as possible. You know, I guess that's all I have to say about that. Like there needs to be as much of it as possible. Now, regarding antinatalism, I guess I can eat this spring onion because I have another one in the chest already. Regarding antinatalism, I feel like I went through a somewhat similar process of, you know, discovering, you know, the philosophy, realizing that I strongly agree with it right off the bat, talking about it to a lot of people, getting, I guess, ostracized or, you know, alienated by, you know, mainstream people for having that value, and then trying to kind of like dial it back thematically to at least appear more palatable to people, because I didn't want to like be left alone. So at the beginning, let's go to sleep. At the beginning, by the way, I hope you're noticing that. Oh wait, level 3 foraging, +1 axe proficiency, new crafting recipe cookout kit. I'll see what that does. I don't remember it. I seem to remember that it existed in previous versions of the game, but I probably never used it. And new cooking recipe, moss soup. I think that's new to the 1.6 update, because I don't ever remember learning this recipe by way of leveling up, but we'll see. And out of those, just out of these, you know, high quality wild crops, we got 174 gold. So again, at first I identified as antinatalist. I read a little bit about the theory, not much, but just enough to realize that I agree with it. Weather, no rain tomorrow. Fortune teller is balanced and living off the land. Woes from crows, sounds like you need a scarecrow. Placing a scarecrow on your farm deters crows from a pretty good distance. Make sure you protect your valuable crops. One more thing, need a bigger backpack to hold all your stuff. Check your local general store. I was really hoping that this, you know, announcement would be salmonberry season, but I guess that's later in the season. Let's do this real quick. Let's craft a scarecrow just for the sake of, you know, finishing this quest. So I think for a scarecrow you need coal, wood, and weeds. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. So I'm not gonna put it now because I don't want to use it yet. I want to allow the crows to, you know, feed when they need to. Let's put the weeds back and the wood as well. The coal back. I'm gonna continue the story in a moment. Let's see the letter first. Missing. I lost my favorite axe. If you find it, please return it ASAP. I'm having a tough time without it. There's 200 gold, 250 gold in it for whoever finds the thing. Robin. Definitely gonna do that today. Could use the boost of cash. And Dear Farmer Sil, I'd like to apologize for joking about your grandpa's old cottage when we first met. It's really a nice little house. However, you might need more space someday. That's where I can help. If you bring me some raw materials and pay a fee, I can expand your house. Continue to the next page. The first expansion I offer includes a kitchen. With a kitchen, you'll be able to cook any recipes you've learned. Anyway, I hope you're starting to feel at home in Stardew Valley, your local carpenter, Robin. So yeah, as mentioned in the previous episode, I definitely do want to get the kitchen upgrade as soon as possible because I would like to cook recipes early. Hello Nooch, here's some water. Let's water the crops. So, I learned just enough about antinatalist theory at first to realize that I agree with it and to affirm, you know, my hunch that I had pretty much since forever that I don't want, you know, children of my own. But again, I didn't research enough. I didn't, you know, see a lot of activism and like content about it. So my understanding on it was pretty loose at the time. And then, you know, when I realized that I'm being ostracized and kind of like alienated from other people because of that value, I tried to like dial it back a little bit. And instead of referring to myself as antinatalist, I said that I'm child-free. And I, similarly to my process with veganism, whenever people asked me about it or whenever I brought it up, I immediately followed it up with a caveat that, like, I'm child-free, but like other people should do whatever they, feel is right for them, right? I didn't like advocate for actually ethically people should stop having kids, right? And I didn't hold people accountable to not have kids if they express that they want to. But yeah, after a while, especially by the time that I learned that I'm autistic and I learned about masking and I started to learn how to unmask, right? I also started learning again more about antinatalist theory. And once again, similarly to veganism, I learned that actually I should be a lot more vocal and like adamant about it, and not give people a free pass to do as they wish in that regard. That I should hold them accountable to not have kids. And once again, here I am today, a very vocal and staunch antinatalist. So to the commenter who, requested that I share about my vegan and potentially antinatalist journey, there you go. I hope this suffices. I hope that answers your question. And yeah, let's move on. So yeah, we did the advancement quest. We get 100 gold from that. That's pretty good. There's nothing to replace it. Raising animals, I think I'm just going to cancel this quest so it doesn't keep showing up. Robin's lost axe. Let's go do that. And then we can go through town for a trash lab. So yeah, other than those two things, the vegan, journey and also the potential mods that I might want to add to the game, I can't think of anything else that I'm going to want to talk about this episode. I do recognize, though, that the last few episodes that I uploaded, especially the second episode of Hades and the first episode of Balatro, ended up being... Oh, we get an event. I'll put a pin on that. Ew, it smells. Yeah, what do you think was going to happen if you approach like the exit of a sewer? Vincent, why is it locked? I want to explore the sewers. Please don't. I think Gunther has the key. Professor Gunther? The man who runs the museum? Why do you think he has it? I saw a big rusty old key fall out of his pocket one time. A creepy sewer door like this has just got to be a match for a big rusty old key. There's something moving around in there. Wonder why there's never music in events like this. Well, good to know. Do not approach the sewers anytime soon. So I know where Robin's axe is. I'm gonna grab it by the end of this lap around the forest. So, the recent episodes of Hades and Balatro ended up being way longer than, I usually aim for an episode to be. My sweet spot, I think, for an episode is usually around the 1 hour mark. But of course, if, something happens in the game that encourages me to deviate from that, for example, in Hades, it's about, completing runs. And also, I guess, in Balatro too. Then I'm going to deviate from it, right? Because I don't want to cut an episode like mid-run. That would be very unsatisfying, in my opinion. So because Balatro and Hades episodes can sometimes end up longer as a result, I want to make sure that I don't also do the same with Stardew Valley, because I don't want to overwhelm you, the audience, with like too much content to listen to. Let's see. So it says you found the lost axe, better return it to Robin. So yeah, I don't want to overwhelm you with too much. Oh, wait, this is new. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Only a master of the 5 ways may enter. Okay, so I'm assuming this is referring to, you know, the 5 skills here. And I guess that means we're never going to find out what this is in this playthrough because we're not going to fish. And unless we start using the, you know, the valley, this peaceful valley or pacifist valley mod, we're probably not going to level up combat either. And that is even assuming that the pacifist mod even allows that. But yeah, let's talk to Leah real quick. There's actually a lot of wild food in this area if you know where to look. I've been having fresh salads almost every day. That's great. Speaking of which, I think I want to start giving Leah gifts. If I remember correctly, Maru doesn't like daffodils. She's just neutral about them. Let's see. Yeah, she's neutral about daffodils. So I could start giving daffodils to Leah if I ever want to pursue things with her. Where was I? Yeah, so I don't want to overwhelm the, you know, the audience or the viewers with too much content, especially if there's anyone, you know who you are, who does want to like make sure to keep up to date with the videos. And so I'm going to make an effort to make sure Stardew Valleys like don't, you know, over exceed 1 hour most of the time. All right, Evelyn.
I'll be baking cookies today. I like to make flower shapes in the spring.
I think we've read that line before.
Maybe I'll tell you my recipe one of these days.
Well, I'm gonna rummage through your trash. And just missed Penny. That's okay. I believe there wasn't any quest available. Oh, you know what? Never mind. My eyesight fails me. Help wanted. The local car population. Fuck you. Lewis. The saloon can get pretty lively at night. Sometimes we even put a coin in the jukebox. Okay, so I've read this before, and I forgot to give him a voice. That's fine. I think if I notice, you know, that a line, if I notice like a line that I've already seen, I think I'm just gonna skip it. And the benefit of talking to them, even though, you know, you already recognize those lines, is that for every piece of dialogue, or rather at least once a day when you talk to them, it elevates your friendship level by a tiny bit. And if I'm going to keep rummaging through trash, you know, in front of people's eyes, I'm going to want to try to counteract them by talking to them. Okay, let's talk to Caroline. I wonder if I can get Pierre to cook dinner tonight. Hope you can. Where was I? I think sorry. Had a burp. I think I was just finishing the point of like, you know, I don't want to overwhelm with content, so I'm going to try to... Man, we're getting very lucky with bread today. Yeah, that's it. I feel like I was going to repeat the point a 4th time, and I probably shouldn't do that. Wow! So much bread. That's insane. Probably shouldn't use words like insane for casual stuff like that, because it can kind of normalize ableist language. Sam. The clouds look great this time of year, don't they? Like, oh, okay, we've already read this before. I should remember. Oh, and I do want to, you know what? I don't have time for the beach because I do want to make sure to find Robin before the end of the day. What else? Can't think of much else now. So the rest of the episode might be a bit more chill and quiet. I can already see the thumbnail for this video, or like the title. So much bread.
So we're fine, as long as nobody teleports any bread.
Question.
What's your question, soldier?
I teleported bread.
What?
You told me to.
How much?
I have done nothing but teleport bread for 3 days.
There have you been sending it?
Determinist. Demetrius, sorry. How's the farming business going? It's parsnip season, isn't it? I can imagine it being pretty peaceful working outdoors with plants all day. Yeah, I guess it is. Hello, Robin. Here is your axe. Hey, you found my axe. What a relief. I almost chopped my toe off with the other one I was using. Thank you. Oh, my pleasure. I mean, I'm getting 250 gold out of it, so nothing to complain about. Again, and I don't think I'm going to find a red mushroom anytime soon, so I'm not going to focus on this quest. Let's make a quick lap here, see if there's any forage, and then I'll continue working on, you know, trees on the farm. Also say hello to Linus on the way. But man, getting 3, you know, I guess loaves of bread? I don't know, this kind of seems like a breadstick more than anything. But anyway, getting 3 pieces of bread just from trash on the same day, and on a neutral day at that, is pretty impressive, I would say. Like, a pretty unlikely event. Linus.
Do you want something from me?
Guess not. I'm probably confusing a lot of the different characters' voices that I gave. Kind of like mixing them up. That's fine. Okay. Actually, before I continue chopping trees, I do want to grab a daffodil and potentially find Leah. Start working on that friendship as soon as possible, especially considering it's about to, you know, change to the next week pretty soon. And I want to make sure to, you know, give her 2 gifts before that. So, spring onion I'm going to use for energy, bread I'm going to use for energy. Let's grab a daffodil. Wait, let's put the rock stones in. Alright. Let's hope Leah is somewhere close. Not gonna be able to. Oh, I think I saw her last time going to the lake. Maybe she's still there. There she is. Hello. This is a really nice gift. Thank you. Let's see if this was okay, it's just a light gift, which is still good. This is something that, you know, I can find and give her consistently. And so here's my thinking regarding, you know, the spring forge. I'm going to save daffodils. I'm going to save as many daffodils as possible, minus the amount that I'm going to save for seeds. And then, I guess that begs the question, what do I do with the rest of the forage with equal numbers? So like, let's say, for example, I save 2 daffodils for seeds. And as a result, I save 2 leeks, 2 wild horseradishes, and 2 dandelions. What do I do with the rest of these? And I think the answer is going to be that I'm going to sell them. Oh, almost sold the spring onions. All right, and then for the rest of the day, let's focus on trees. I think I'm going to dedicate this area to maple trees, just to make sure we have, you know, enough of those. I guess the area above here will be, you know, acorn trees. This will be maple trees. Maybe, I'll find a place for pine trees. And then the rest will be for, I guess, more crop farming. Let's eat something real quick. Just to make sure we don't end the day on low energy and start the next one with lower energy. And then let's start planting maple here. So it seems like, okay, so because this spot, despite being grass, it's like eligible for planting, I imagine that for the 3x3 that is required for a tree to grow, it's going to be enough. So I can grow the first one here and the second one here. Where would I want? And I guess I could have an area for pine over here. So let's do that. Let's see. This is eligible. This is not. So like this is the starting line. The first one would be here. Oh, that. I'm glad I noticed it. I almost like missed the fact that I planted it somewhere else. And before we finish the day, let's use the rest of the maple seeds and pine cones that we have to start, you know, growing as many trees as possible. And I'm also going to use more farm space temporarily for more trees because, you know, I'm not going to expand, you know, the crop production to those areas anytime soon. So might as well, you know, grow a bunch more trees temporarily there for profit. And I can barely see where I planted the first one. Okay, so it's here because this spot is ineligible. So one here, one here, one here. I don't think this is enough. I don't think this is enough. So here, here. Is this enough? Probably not. There we go. Okay, should be enough. It's getting late. Nooch is still outside. So let's test the theory. Is he going to teleport again? So he did. Okay. I know I'm gonna add that in the editing. Okay. Save. I would use the bread to chop more trees, but it's also late. So let's just organize stuff. I'm gonna keep the bread in my inventory for the next day. Spring onion as well. And put the tree, the wood stuff for the sap outside. And I think we'll call it a day. So from all that forage, you know, just four leeks, 3 wild horseradishes, and 2 dandelions, we made a pretty hefty amount, 470. So we're definitely getting closer to that that bag upgrade. Okay. The bookseller is in town today. Interesting. Okay, so I think I have no experience with the bookseller yet. I think we'll experience that together on camera for the first time next episode, because it's coming up to an hour, and like I said, I don't want to overwhelm with too much content, especially considering the last Hades and Balatro episodes. So I think we'll end it here. We leveled up to foraging 3. We got a lot of money going. We planted a lot of seeds. It seems like we're you know, going forward with pretty decent momentum. I think one final thing I'll do before I actually end the video is let's restructure the house, because having the bed face the door this way and like be so close is like really weird in my opinion. Ideally, I want it to be here. So is it even possible to move? Yeah, okay. It's possible to move the firehouse. Although wait, why am I doing it now? The game is already saved, so like whatever I do here is not going to stay by the next time, like if I, you know, exit the game now. So I think the first thing we do next episode is reorganize the house. And, you know, by the beginning of the next episode, like the fireplace is going to be to reset. That's fine. Anyway, thank you for watching. Stay mindful, eat fruit, and don't multiply. Peace.